Today we're going to talk about the one-handed backhand, and I'm going to show you how you can find and develop that beautiful, effortless looking swing that we all want. So as many of you may know, I'm not a fan of teaching players using positions, whether that's pat the dog, scratch the back, or certain positions on the one-handed backhand. I think by trying to hit positions in the middle of the stroke, it makes players a little bit rigid and stiff. So I'm looking at the big picture and trying to help people to have better timing, rhythm, and overall coordination. What I'm going to do is take my putter, and the head of this is really heavy. And if I allow the weight of this to swing, and I don't try and hold onto it and restrict it and use my muscles too much, use strength to manipulate this, and I just let it swing, I actually find that it gives me pretty good one-handed backhand fundamentals. And it's going to do the same thing that many of the serving aids do, where you try and swing it in an effortless way and you allow the weight of it to swing and sort of train you how to do the most fluid motion. I'm going to use this in the same way, but for the one-handed backhand. Now, if I swing this recklessly and just kind of let it go, it pulls me in places that I don't really want to be pulled. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to this, listen to my body, and think about how I can move this in the most efficient way possible. Now, when I start it off, this is pretty easy. It doesn't feel heavy in this position. And as I swing it, I want to release the wrist. That's what it wants me to do. If I hold onto it too tight, I feel pretty stiff here and it feels quite heavy. So I want to feel like I can release it, and that's the most effortless thing that I can do. It feels quite comfortable doing that. Now, if I start swinging a little bit more over my shoulder, I want to bend my arm to absorb the energy, because if I don't do that, again, it pulls me in different positions. If I use my wrist too much, it pulls my shoulder. So what I want to do is just use my wrist the right amount, just a little bit of roll, and bend my arm to allow that swing to come to a nice effortless stop. Now you'll see Richard Gasquet, he's got probably my favorite one-handed backhand, but Roger Federer, a lot of these guys, they're going to do this same thing where, they start in this position, they're rolling that wrist and racket through the shot, and then when they finish, they're coming up here and they're bending their arm. They're not coming around their body this way. So I don't hear this a lot, and I don't see everyone really focusing on it, but in my experience, having people bend their arm makes this swing so much easier for a lot of people. And a lot of times, a lot of people want to use a one-handed backhand because it looks cool, but it just feels a little stronger to have two hands on it. So when we're doing the one-handed backhand, it's pretty important that the racket doesn't feel too heavy and we can feel like we can maneuver it. That's a big part of being able to use a one-handed backhand. So again, feel like you're just allowing the racket to swing, nice little bit of wrist release, and we're bending the arm and finishing above the head with sort of the back of the racket facing the head like this. Now, I guess we've got to talk about the grip. We want to be a little bit behind the racket. The reason I didn't bring up the grip first is because I don't really care too much about it. I just want players to be behind the racket. Continental, I'm not behind it. If I'm too far underneath it, again, I'm not behind it on low balls. So as long as you're somewhere between Eastern, semi-Western, you feel like you're behind the racket at the point of contact, that's good enough for me. And then everything else applies. Just allow that racket to swing. I just finished making this video and I got an email from one of my video analysis clients. Been working with a similar thing with him and his son on his one-handed backhand, and I have to show you the results. At first, his backhand is really loose. He looks like a typical young, I think he's only 10 years old, typical young kid who's struggling with the strength of hitting a one-handed backhand. It's all loose. So I was saying that he's got to firm it up. He's got to tighten up the end of the shot and try and hold that finish a little bit. Now, as you can see, he's trying to tighten up that finish, but he's doing so by just restricting his movements, and it looks pretty stiff and a little bit awkward. So as I said, I gave him the advice that I've just give you guys in this video, and this is the video that I just received. So you can see the incredible progress that he's made. It looks unbelievable, like fantastic backhand. You guys have done a great job, and it's been a pleasure to work with you. Hopefully this can help a lot of people that are watching it to make just as much progress as Hector. Alright guys, talk to you soon.